it doesn't matter if other people understand you or not. It matters if you understand yourself. What is going on? How is everybody doing today? Happy Thursday morning if you're listening to the podcast version of this, and happy Thursday evening if you're watching the YouTube version of this when this drops. As you guys know, this podcast drops on Mondays and Thursdays. The podcast version, the audio version, drops on all podcast platforms at 5 a.m. and the YouTube version drops on YouTube at 5 p.m. Like I said, Mondays and Thursdays. But welcome to the Risen Fallen podcast. I am your host, Mark Hendrickson. I hope you are doing well today. If you are brand new to this podcast, what you can expect is open and authentic conversations about things like mental health and self-development. And if you are not new to this podcast, then I just want to say thank you for coming back and supporting this movement, supporting this journey, and supporting the idea of making yourself at least 1% better every single day, making yourself stronger, faster, better, more compassionate, more patient, and along the way, lifting others up as well. And so that's the show. Hope you guys are doing well. Whether you're brand new to this podcast or not, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, you are the reason that I do what I do. Yes, you listen to this right now. And so it is Thursday today. We are pounding through this week. It's the Friday to Friday. I hope you guys are doing well. I have a cup of coffee in front of me right here, so we're going to take a sip together. If you got a coffee in front of you, if you got a water, a protein shake, amino acids, anything like that. If you got nothing, let's just take a breath together. Let's get in the mindset, the mind state, the mood for development and improving ourselves together. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. Let's do this. Oh, man, that is good. So, today I just wanted to have a small little conversation, a little chatteroo, a little chat. We're going to have a little chat. And this is a topic that I've kind of talked about before, but it was inspired by one of the DMs that I got the other day, talking about, and you know what? This isn't an attack. This isn't like I'm not trying to get mad. I'm not trying to belittle anybody that messages me. I actually appreciate every single message that I get on Instagram, or if you DM me, or if you comment on any of the episodes or anything like that. This is just kind of one of my responses and kind of a more productive way to look at things in my personal perspective. But I got a message the other day, and like I said, I appreciate all messages, but basically this person was saying that they related to one of my guests because they share the same cultural background as them, and it helped them relate to some of the stuff that we were talking about. And I don't think, if you can find ways to relate to people, if you can find ways to empathize or find more compassion, I guess, relate is the best way to say it, then that's a great thing. Like, I think that building connection, building community, those things are great. And if you can find connection and community in other people, then that's fucking even better. But the way I wanted to explain this is a way that I think that can help you build more connection with more people, just, outside of, it doesn't even have to be culture. It could be, we look at nowadays in today's political climate, we like to look at things like sexual orientation or the color of someone's skin, or maybe where they were brought up, where they were raised, where they were fucking, born, or what kinds of, religion they have, what kinds of, all these different things. And we like to say, um, I really connect with this person because we come from the same background because of this, because of, like I said, some of the things that we were talking about. Maybe because they were born into wealth, maybe they were born into poverty, maybe they went to school over here, maybe they have these types of parents, maybe they have those types of parents. And we find, different ways that we can connect with other people. And I feel like sometimes that this can, imply almost that we don't connect with people that are not like us. Because sometimes you hear people saying like, well, you wouldn't understand me because you don't have the exact same sexual orientation as me, or you wouldn't understand this because you don't have the same race as me, or you don't understand this because you weren't born in the same place as me. You don't understand this or that because you didn't have these types of parents. You didn't have this kind of culture. You didn't have this kind of religion. You didn't have this type of pressure put upon you when you were a child. You didn't have, any pressure or any parenting or anything like that. We find ways to connect with people that are like us. And then we sometimes find ways to not connect with other people because they're not exactly like us. And I'm not saying that this was what that person was doing. Like I said, I think it's nice. They reached out to me and they're like, hey, I connect with this person because of this, and that's fucking great. That's not, what I'm trying to, I'm not trying to demonize that person or say that, or vilify them or say that that's a bad thing. But what I am trying to say is I feel like a lot of the time we tell ourselves these stories, and sometimes it can lead to internal dialogue, which can start to form itself in the shape of, feeling like the people around you can't connect to you. Where we start to tell ourselves self-limiting beliefs and say things like, well, I can't do this thing, or this person can't understand me because that's just who I am. That's just who they are. It's just a part of my culture. This is just what my friends have always done. This is what I've always done. I've never been able to do that before. And, it kind of leads to these self-limiting beliefs and these stories that we tell ourselves. It kind of relates to one of the agreements in the book, the 4 Agreements. If you haven't read that book yet, I highly recommend it. But it's one of those like kind of pre-agreed upon agreements that we don't know that we're agreeing upon. And I think that the more we try and put ourselves into these weird categories, these weird boxes, the more it isolates us, not just socially or physically, but also mentally and spiritually as well. We start to think, nobody around me can understand me. Nobody around me can feel the same feelings that I feel. Nobody can, relate to the things that I feel because I'm surrounded by a bunch of people that are different than I am. Because of this reason, that reason, another reason, whatever it could be. And I just feel like this could be a very unproductive way to think about it for a couple reasons. The first reason is because I think all of us have struggles and insecurities and exterior pressures coming down on us throughout our lives. Whether you're born rich, you're born into poverty, you're born, a certain color, you're born with a sexual orientation or whatever identity you want to claim, maybe where you were born, what time you were born, when you were born, whatever it could be. I think that if you were to dissect every single insecurity or pressure or fear or anything like that, I think that most of us align with very similar insecurities and fears. And what I mean by that is, maybe you have a certain cultural pressure put on you as a child to do a certain career. Maybe you have a certain expectation because of your gender role in society. Maybe you have a certain expectation put upon you. It could be like something that's verbally agreed upon between, you and somebody else in your life. I think that any of these pressures all derive from the exact same insecurity, which is the internal dialogue of us telling ourselves, I'm not going to be good enough. I can't do this. I might disappoint somebody. I might be poor. I might be a failure. And I think that that's where a lot of our insecurities and fears actually do stem from. Currently reading the book Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon Hill. I don't know if you guys have read that book either, but in that book, he has a section where he is quite literally interviewing the devil, and the devil talks about how he owns, a certain amount of people in this world. And I don't want to give too much away, but basically, there's a question where he asks the devil, what are the tools that you use to dominate so many people in this world? And the devil responds back, I use a lot of many tools, but one of the strongest ones is fear. And I think that kind of coincides with exactly what I'm talking about today. Fear of poverty, fear of death, fear of not being good enough, fear of disappointing other people, fear of being insignificant, fear of not making other people proud. It could be any fear in general, but that negative energy that sits within all of us. And I think that the more we categorize and isolate ourselves by saying and assuming, that's really what it is, by assuming that other people aren't going to understand your insecurities or your fears because they're not the exact same as you, it closes the doors internally for us to even be able to connect with other people and empathize with other people and sympathize with other people. But furthermore, it stops us from receiving the aid that we might need in this world as well. And I think that more people out there will be able to connect with the things that you feel on a deep, deep level because of the way, like I said, if you were to slice down and dissect every single insecurity and fear and negative emotion that we all have, it all comes down to the exact same thing, which is what I've been saying, like this fear of disappointing others, this fear of failure, this fear of not being good enough. And I think that everyone can relate to a time in their life where they've felt that feeling. Maybe you feel it today when you woke up this morning. Maybe you felt it last week. Maybe you felt it last year. But I can assure you that you know exactly the feeling that I'm talking about. This feeling, this pit in your stomach where you're like, fuck, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can make it. I don't know if I'm going to be good enough today. And I think all of us feel that way at some point in our lives. And ultimately, I think that many of us can connect with other people if we were to actually dissect and speak about these insecurities and these fears. But I don't even think that that's necessary. I think that it's helpful. I think that it's good. I think that it's going to make your life easier and more pleasurable. I think that you're going to find that you build better and stronger relationships and more community with people around you, no matter what they look like, who they sound like, what language they speak, what place they were born in, what sexual orientation they have. But I think ultimately, it doesn't matter if other people understand you or not. It matters if you understand yourself. And if you build these ideas and fortify the walls of these compartments that we put ourselves in, and you'd say, oh, well, I can't be understood because of this, this, and this, and that's how it's always been, that's how it'll always be, because I was, born in this place and taught this thing, and I've always done this thing, and everyone in my family has always done this thing. We're hiding the truth from ourselves. We're hiding the truth behind the negative emotions that we feel. We're not actually allowing ourselves to dig deeper into it and find the real answer. And so, like I said, if you can find ways to relate to other people because of certain things in your life, that's great. It's an amazing thing to be able to build community and to be able to find connection and feel a genuine connection to somebody else. But I think that when we can look past these things that we relate to other people on a surface level, and we start to actually dig deep into the emotions that we feel and the traumas that we've had or the things that we've gone through in the past, and we dig deep into the actual foundation of what builds these negative emotions within us, we start to understand ourselves better. We start to understand, oh, this is what I actually feel. And then you can start building from there. Well, why do I feel that? Well, not only why do I feel that, but why do I let it impact me in this way? Why do I still believe this story that I'm telling myself? And I think that that's such a powerful thing. And honestly, I feel like if you don't have some sort of like mindful reflection routine, like, again, I talk about this all the time, but journaling, talking to a counselor, talking to a loved one, talking to yourself into your phone and listening back to it, being able to hear your own thoughts and dig through your own insecurities. You know, the more you're able to understand yourself, and shout outs to Hussein, he'd probably love this episode, but the more you understand yourself and understand that, you know, you live very, I'm trying to find a good way to say this, but you feel the same insecurities and pains and fears that most other people feel as well. Not saying to the same degree. I'm not saying for the same time duration. I'm not saying for the same, maybe portion of your life. Maybe some people feel it earlier on, some people feel it later on. But what I am saying is everyone feels that emotion at some point in their life, whatever you're feeling right now. And I think that that's one of the most powerful thoughts or ideas that you can have. Because I think one of the biggest issues that we have in the realm of mental health and self-development is this feeling of, I'm the only one that feels like this around me. I can't connect to anybody else, and ultimately I'm alone. I think that that's a lot of, people's deep, dark fear. That idea of like born alone, die alone, I'm alone. And nobody can understand how alone I feel because of this circumstance in my life. And understanding that everybody feels that way at some point in their life to some degree is one of the most connecting thoughts and ideas that we can have. And not only that, but understanding that we all feel that way at some point in our life for some duration of time in our life, for whatever reason it could be, is an idea that makes us way more compassionate, way more relatable, way more connected. Because when you understand that you feel that way, part of your life's mission, regardless of what you do for work, regardless of where you were born, regardless of what color your skin is, regardless of what language you speak, regardless of who you sleep with, regardless of any other factor you could possibly think of. If you understand that you feel that way and you understand that other people feel that way as well at some point in their life, you want to try and alleviate that feeling for somebody else. And so that was just a little, that got deep real quick, but it all started because of that DM that I got on Instagram. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, connections, or anything like that you want to chat about in any of my episodes, reach out to me on Instagram, because I really do appreciate all of the messages that I get, all the comments and everything. This is a little reminder, if you're watching the YouTube version of this, comment on it. Because I really do love all those comments. And if you're listening to the podcast version of this, leave a little review, rate it 5 stars, and let me know what you guys think of this conversation. But on this Thursday, today, I just wanted to give you guys that little reminder that, what you're feeling right now, whether it be good or bad, somebody else has felt like that before, and you can find a way to relate to somebody else and build community and build connection. And ultimately, the reminder I wanted to give you is no matter what you're going through right now, no matter how you feel, you're not alone. And life can and will get better for you. And so that is it. Happy Thursday. I hope you guys go into this weekend with some sort of optimism and positive mind state. If you're not feeling that way, reach out to me on Instagram. Let's have a chat. Other than that, I will check in with you guys on Monday. I hope you have a good weekend. I hope you have the time to rest and relax and recover and be able to connect with people you love. So that is it. Much love and peace out, you beautiful human beings. You beautiful specimens. Much love and peace out.